Hey, just a quick update because I was actually kind of really wrong about something and I thought it'd be appropriate to make an update video and explain how I was wrong and kind of run through the math because I just spent a few hours running the math. It was really confusing and I feel like I should show that. So I had a comment on my video here. We have Kurokoshi92. He mentions that is what I'm saying correct, and he's referring to how I talked about the Sundered Will and how the Sundered Will works. So I explained in my video that the Sundered Will, it only scales up based on breakpoints. So one Sundered Will, which we have over here, won't actually include all these other ones because it doesn't reach a breakpoint. And so you'd only get about 70% or so from a single Sundered Will. Versus using two, you're going to hit the effect a lot easier as it's going to start including things like the Unnatural Instinct combo and stuff like that down here. And that a single Sundered Will wouldn't actually include any of these. Those are the claims I made. Path of Building actually does support those claims. So this is what I wrote here. I was talking about it right here. In Path of Building, that's how it calculates, and it says that's right. I kind of assumed that Path of Building was right because it generally is. It's a lot smarter than me. And I didn't bother to test it in-game because I was very lazy. I didn't really want to. It's kind of really annoying to test it in-game. You usually have to use really roundabout ways. But turns out I was actually wrong. Delete all of that. I was wrong. And this guy here, Kurokoshi, you are right. It does actually work differently in-game, and Path of Building actually has the math wrong. So the way it works in game is kind of how you assume it would work. All sources of percent increased chaos adds to aura effect, and that applies to all your sources of aura, aka our death aura. So the way it works, and the annoying way I went around figuring it out, is death aura doesn't really show it very well. So like you can add on you can add on a Sundered Will, and it literally just doesn't improve death aura's damage at all, which is really bloody annoying. So the way you have to go around it is I used Envy instead. We chuck on Envy, as it's a curse aura. It's basically one of the only other ones. And then we can see when we turn it on, we have this amount of chaos damage, 965 to 1283. So that's a really important number. We'll run through the math on that now. So up here, a whole lot of words. Please ignore. POB thinks we're only getting 72% increased aura effect with this exact current setup that I'm using. However, in game, the math says otherwise. So we're going to run through it a little bit, kind of break it down a little bit. So using POB's math here, we have 91 to 121 Envy, so added spell chaos damage, times 1.72. That's the 72% increased aura effect. That's going to give us 156 to 208 added spell chaos damage. If we then bump that up a little bit, we're going to go this, plus the Sundered Will, we're going to have 165 to 228, and we're going to multiply those by these multiplier numbers. So the 9.22, that is 796, plus the 26 to give us 822% increased damage, and you add a 1 to make it work. And then 1.15 is our ascendancy multiplier of more chaos damage. So that gives us these numbers, 1,749, 2,417. But if we look in game, once we actually add on the Sundered Will, those numbers don't add up at all. It's 2,205 and 3,011. So we're thinking, alright, this POB is clearly not getting it right. Let's try using the theoretical 119% increased aura effect we would have from our increased chaos. So we do that exact same math, we run it through, 2.19 equals this plus the Sundered Will here, and then we reach our in-game chaos damage numbers. So in this example, yeah, we are wrong. I was wrong, not we. I was wrong. I trusted POB a little too much. Turns out the POB math is wrong, so I'll have to do some sort of bug report on that one, and hopefully they can fix that, and it'll be better for calculating in the future. And yeah, PoE, as annoying as it is, because it bloody doesn't tell you anything when you're looking at this, Death Aura, no idea. Doesn't show any sort of increased effect. You can chuck it on here. Doesn't even increase Death Aura's damage. So as far as I know, shit, it might not even be working on Death Aura. I'm gonna go ahead and assume, maybe I'm once again making another mistake. I'm assuming it does work on Death Aura. It'd be very, very silly if it did not. In game, it doesn't seem to show an increase on the Death Aura damage per second. Holy shit, if it doesn't, that's even worse. And literally everyone is wrong about Sundered Will. But we can see on the Envy, it does actually work. It does increase its damage. But yeah, I was just wrong about that. If you do make a min-max version of this build, it would be better to use a single Sundered Will and a very well-rolled rare ring, kind of like in Mage Fist's video, as that is kind of the better setup. Mage Fist just released another video, actually. I was midway watching it when I realized I should update. So yeah, shout out to Kurokoshi. I'm sorry, I apologize. Another thing I also did not realize, I'll quickly mention RRF 1218 mentions that the Hexblast interaction doesn't work. You don't actually gain the crit from your auras. So let's check on here. It says Hex affects hexproof enemies. That's the Hexblast line. And Hex enemies cannot deal critical strikes. You would think it would work. It says that's what it's doing. But we actually go to the forum. Someone much smarter than me has done a really complicated video demonstration where they've set all of this up and basically tested that, yeah, it does not work. So even though in-game says it works, it doesn't. So instead of doing Hex Pass, potentially, I mean, I'm not really playing this character anymore, but throw on, instead of Hex Pass, on an Arrogance. Arrogance will give you a 4% more DPS for your Death Aura. That'll be better than what we were running. So yeah, a bit of a long-winded explanation. I thought it'd be better to clear that up and get that out the way. And yeah, hopefully you guys do well. I know the prices have gone through the roof. This bloody Cane of Kulamark, I managed to, I don't know, I gambled it in maybe like 50 divines worth of attempts. And it's now worth 250 divines. It costs 6 divine an attempt per gamble. I was gambling it at half a divine per attempt, so that's not my fault. That's Mage Fist effect. It's gonna happen. And then Exiled Cat, they both released Death Aura videos, 0 to Hero. Yeah, that's life. I'm gonna be releasing a 0 to Hero videos soon myself, very shortly, hopefully in the next 24 hours. And yeah, thank you. Happy hunting, happy exiles, get lots of divines. Enjoy.